Hey there, everyone. Doppler 10 meteorologist Jeff Booth here. We've been tracking some showers, some storms as they have been coming through the area. Actually, things have gotten kind of active out here in central Ohio and actually eastern Ohio as well. We've been looking at some strong storms capable of producing winds to around 60 miles an hour. Heavy rain with these as well. We haven't had any severe weather here in Columbus just yet, but the station here, I definitely could hear some here on the west side of town, could hear some very heavy rain coming down not too long ago. So we're going to be dealing with some very heavy rain with these gully washers, if you will. We're going to be looking at the threat for some of that severe weather too. You can't rule that out as we head through the afternoon. The good news is actually timing of this not bad because right now it's 3:45. As this first batch comes through here, we could still see some action out on the back edge of this, but this is going to help to overturn the atmosphere a little bit. That'll help to stabilize things a little bit. We got all the way up to about 87 degrees, and as a result, that was kind of muggy, kind of hot out there. Well, now we're going to cool off a little bit, so that's going to kind of stabilize the atmosphere. So where are you right now, too? If you are, we're on Facebook Live, I know right now. So if you are on Facebook, you can chime in and let us know what you're seeing where you are. But definitely, we've got a severe thunderstorm warning actually just dropped, too. Actually, that's good news. We just had that drop, our latest one, out to the east, and now there was one rather out in Madison and Union County, but we're looking at an end to that one too. But let me just show you kind of what we're tracking right now with this, because we have been looking at some heavy rain. We've also been getting some heavy winds too, and out in Dayton, I've been seeing with the NWS, the National Weather Service, their chat line, they've been telling us about some damage out that way. But we've got some strong storms in parts of the area. The good news is they've shown a little weakening trend. Again, that is going to help out as we head on through the evening hours. But let's just kind of show you what we've got right now across parts of the area, because even once this threat gets out of here, once we head on into the evening hours, we're going to see things kind of quiet down again as this first batch comes through here as well. That's going to weaken and stabilize things a little bit. And audio sounds bad, it says. Okay. Let's move this up then. Rainy in Galloway, we're getting that. Heavy downpours with thunder in Blacklick. We've got Stephanie telling me that it is loud out that way, and we are looking at some thunder as well in Reynoldsburg. That's good to know. But you can see heavy rain stretching from London on through Hilliard, on through Dublin, on through Westerville, Northern Port, even into New Albany, where we've got some very heavy rain out that way. And once we get through this threat, again, as this kind of comes through here, this will kind of stabilize the atmosphere a little bit. Just depends on how much sun we get as to whether or not we'll see any more severe weather. But looks like once this gets out of here, we're going to still be dealing with the threat for heavy rain. And that's going to be something we're looking at. Flash flood watches are in effect as well. I've been seeing some reports out in western Ohio of very heavy rain, very flooded roads as well. So that's going to be something we're looking at too. But right now you can see that steady rain from Lancaster into Thornville out into Newark. We're looking at some heavy rain, a little steadier, not quite as bad out in London. And as we move on into Washington Courthouse, they're getting hit with a line right there. Let's put this into motion and kind of show you what we've been dealing with over the last hour, because you can see it's just kind of blossomed up, ballooned up. These stronger storms and these heavier storms have kind of popped up over the past a couple of hours. Really still have some severe thunderstorm warnings out in parts of Pennsylvania. We just had our last one expire, actually. It was out in Guernsey County. We had some out in Muskingum County, too. Some strong winds up to around 60 miles an hour. So we've got now this little batch right here, and you can kind of see towards the end of this little line right here, that's a little outflow boundary. That could spark up a few more showers, a few more storms out ahead of it. So we'll be watching for some redevelopment there. And these also have the potential to produce a little bit of hail out there. So heavy rain, strong winds, even some hail possible with these. And that's going to be a bit of an issue over the next couple of hours. And I want to show you something that the Storm Prediction Center has put out. It is their threat level for the day, threat level for the afternoon, I should say. But you can see what we're looking at here, mainly dealing with the threat for some strong damaging wind gusts, and it looks like that's going to be a bit of an issue still over the next few hours. Again, the one thing we've got going for us is the fact that we've had these come through here at a decent time in the afternoon. So, you know, I've seen it before where you have a line of storms come through, you know, noon, 1, 2 o'clock, then things kind of quiet down, sun comes out, we re-energize the atmosphere. It's going to be a little tough to do that. I'm not going to rule it out, but it's going to be a little tougher to do that. But we still have to watch out for the strong damaging winds. That's the main threat, not a major tornado threat. I never rule out a quick spin up, never rule out a little hail as well with this, but really the way the dynamics, the way things are setting up in the atmosphere, really looking like we really have more of a chance for some of those stronger wind gusts with this. So we'll take that. That's better than, again, that tornadic threat. But we have seen a little bit of small hail with these as well. And as I mentioned, this is not the only threat that we're facing. Let me know what you're seeing too. Hello there. How you doing, Sally? Let me know what you are facing, what you're seeing across parts of the area. But we also have the threat for flash flooding. Now, this is in effect. Just was pouring with high winds, says Stephanie in Lancaster. Donna is saying she's watching. How you doing, Donna? Hey there, Ash. Ashley says, finally, about time to get some rain. I know it's been one of those things where we've been in and out of the rain. Some people have been getting it recently. Some people haven't. A lot of us have been seeing it this afternoon. And we actually have flash flood watches really stretching from Cincinnati through Columbus into Cleveland. And these are in effect basically tonight on into, for us here in town, early afternoon tomorrow, and it looks like the bulk of our rain tomorrow is going to come through here early. I'm not going to rule out a shower in the afternoon, but if you are in really along south of I-70, I think most of the rain's early. We'll have a few lingering showers and storms into the early to mid-afternoon, but that rain kind of shifts. The steadier rain, the front that's bringing us that rain is going to shift a little bit to the south as we head on through the afternoon to, or really the late morning tomorrow, and that's actually not bad news if you're going to the Crew game. Things are looking a little better. This time yesterday, we were starting to get an inkling that maybe things would push south, but a couple days ago this time it was looking like we had a good shot at some rain for the Crew game, but right now rain chances are diminishing for that, so that's good news because I know they really just don't want to have lightning, which I get that. Thunder and sunny, says Bob. Where are you, Bob? What are you seeing? Thunder, are you seeing a rainbow too? If you get one, send me a picture. I'd love to show it on the news tonight. Let me show you what we've been kind of dealing with here. This is a camera, a time-lapse downtown Columbus. We're starting to see a little break in the action, but you can see rain coming down, a couple of bouts of some very heavy rain. As I mentioned, as I was making my forecast just about an hour ago, it was coming down hard. I mean, it was just dumping, and it's one of those things where I'm glad I got my lawn mowed yesterday because I knew I had to get it done. I knew we were going to get some rain, so got it done just in time, and yeah, we've got some of those downpours coming through. The good news is right now the severe weather threat has kind of shifted to more of a flood threat. The wind threat, not quite as bad as it was when we got on here, so that's good news. I'm not going to rule out, though, some strong storms with some gusty winds of easily, 40 miles an hour, maybe 45 miles an hour, but there's no active severe thunderstorm warnings in effect right now. That, again, is a piece of good news, at least not here in town. We still have some severe thunderstorm warnings that are out over parts of western Pennsylvania, but here in town, we've actually had a chance to see these kind of move in. And we got rain in Chesterville, says Kathy. Dark thunder on the way, says Terry. And let's see, we've got a lot of lightning right now in Beverly, which is North Washington County, raining but not pouring. Okay, good to know. Thank you so much for that. A lot of lightning. Thank you so much for that, Trent. And let's see. We got Logan County, sunny right now. So there you go. So we've actually had the storms come through. They're getting a little break. Actually, the sunshine, not necessarily a good thing, though, because that'll give you a chance to re-energize a little bit. But we have actually, I'm going to widen this out, have a fair bit of shower and storm activity across the area. Going to be one of those things where we are kind of in and out of the rain. I'm going to say over the next 24 hours, really, roughly here in town. I think most of the rain is going to be falling tonight, but really from here through tomorrow morning, I think, because what's going on is we've got a front that's just kind of sitting on top of us. It's kind of a stationary front, which makes stationary, doesn't move a whole lot, kind of sitting on top of us. And what that does is that allows us to see this moisture just kind of move up the front, bringing us the threat for some showers, some storms. And here, like, if you kind of see where we have these oranges, these yellows, not quite as much of that action as you move up into the northern portion of the state, even into parts of Michigan, and that's because of where the stationary front is. The cooler air up here, not as much of a chance for some of the stronger storms. You can't rule them out, but we're kind of on the warm side of that stationary front. That's where you get the instability to really build. That's why we've been seeing more of that severe activity. They have not been dealing with as much of it up that way throughout the day. We get to see, Ashley says, we need a good thunderstorm to get rid of the humidity. That's true. Well, we're actually going to have a couple of days where we're kind of muggy, but things are going to start to look a little bit better by the end of the weekend. That's a piece of good news for you, I'm sure. Thank you so much, Ashley. Let's see. Who else? What else are you guys seeing out there? I can tell you, we got a lot of rain here. Hopefully you guys got some much-needed rain where you are, because I know that we've had a lot of dry weather. My grass was looking a little bit crunchy by the end, about last week, actually. But yeah, you can kind of see this line of showers right here. This is coming with our front. That moisture just moving on up the front, and it's dropping some rain, some heavy rain at times, and that's going to be the case out there tonight. Even if we start to see that severe threat diminish, which I'm not saying we're done with it yet, I'm saying that as we get on through the evening, we'll definitely definitely going to watch things kind of quiet down. And that's kind of what the models are hinting at. Kind of still have the threat for some storms over the next few hours that could be strong and severe. As we move towards and past sunset, you start to lose the daytime heating. A lot of that action just then will just kind of shift over to not quite as much thunder activity, just more of that steady rain. And that's kind of what we're dealing with tonight. But as we shift to that, we're still going to have to watch out for those flash flooding. And that flash flooding issue could definitely be an issue. We've definitely had some of that too. As I've been reading some of the information coming out of the National Weather Service, flash flooding has been a bit of an issue out in parts of western Ohio throughout the afternoon, and that's because they were starting to get the worst of that weather first before it started to kind of move into our area. But let's zoom on a little closer, kind of show you what we're looking at, because these are still some pretty healthy cells. You can kind of see where they sort of peaked a little bit as we kind of look at this radar right here. You can see how kind of right around this area, we'll wait a second, see how it's really orange, really dark, and then it kind of breaks up. Starting to see a little bit of a weakening trend with this. And as it moves on into this area right here where we have the clouds, it's going to, I think, continue to allow it to weaken a little bit. Really what you don't want to see on a day like this is all this sunshine, day like today. And you can kind of see, look at all the sun. Here's where all this breaks out, where we've got that sun starting to move in, and it leaves that cloud debris. So as this moisture moves in, it'll have a chance to kind of knock down some of that. Again, if we get a little sun, that could re-energize things, so we're going to have to keep our eye on that. But I'm actually liking the timing of this because it makes it a little bit easier to call because, again, this didn't happen early in the afternoon. If this happens early in the afternoon, you can easily get 2 turns out of the atmosphere. I've seen it happen before. But Lorraine says, though, it's clearing in Reynoldsburg. Okay, so we'll have to keep our eye out that way. It's now pouring in Beverly and Washington County, says Trent. Okay. What else everybody seeing? Pouring rain and windy in Hebron. Okay. Yes, there will be. Stephanie's asking if there will be more storms this evening. Yes. As we head through the evening, we're going to keep some rain in the forecast, some rumbles of thunder as well. I think, though, once we start to get past 5, 6 o'clock, maybe even 7, things start to weaken a little bit. It may even be before that, but I mean, we're going to be past the potential for the daytime heating. And I'm going to take a look at those temperatures in just a second because they were in the mid and upper 80s not too long ago. I have a pretty good suspicion they've dropped, which that's good because that'll help to kind of weaken some of the instability in the atmosphere too. That'll help to kind of stabilize things, make things look a little bit better on that front. But let's jump on over and take a look at some of those current temperatures because we'll start off with this camera and just kind of show you what we were dealing with earlier here in town. Had a couple of rounds of heavy rain come through. I mean, it was pouring. It was dumping when it came through. You can kind of see 1, 2, actually almost 3 rounds there. Those temperatures have cooled off considerably. That's good news. This really shows that we've had a chance to stabilize the atmosphere. And also, too, I'm not going to lie to you. Well, actually, no, I'm actually happy because I was actually calling for our high. Yesterday at 11 o'clock last night, I was calling for the high to hit at about 2:30 to 3 o'clock, and it looks like that did happen. I didn't think we'd drop quite this much. I thought we'd drop to the upper 70s to maybe right around 80 after that first batch came through. So a little bit off on that, but I'm happy I got the high on time. But yeah, you can see we've cooled off a bit, and that's good news. Again, that shows a little bit of stabilization with the atmosphere. So we're going to be on here for a couple more minutes just because I got some work I got to get done, but I didn't want to pop on, just kind of give you a quick heads up as to what's going on because we've been running little crawls at the bottom of your screen. The TV screen, if you've been watching Dr. Oz. We have a lot of doctors on. I get them all mixed up. If you've been watching Dr. Oz, though, we've been having a lot of crawls running across the bottom of the screen talking about some heavy winds and some strong storms possibly. And we actually did get some storms coming through here that had the potential to produce winds to around 60 miles an hour. The good news is our severe weather threats, at least right now, the active threat, that there's nothing going on with that front, just some heavy rain across parts of the area. And also a lot of lightning, too. We'll pop the lightning tracker on in just a second for you to kind of show you what we're looking at with that. But here's sort of what we're going to face as we head through the evening. We still have the threat for some more storms out there. We could still see some redevelopment, so we'll be watching for any clearing out there. That's what we really have to watch out for. A little sun out behind all this can allow things to destabilize, so we'll keep our eye on that. But there is a low risk for some storms. Basically, what this means is there's a chance for some isolated storms with some stronger wind gusts. Now, when you have like a slight risk or an elevated risk, if you will, that means it's a little more widespread. When you have this low, again, very isolated, and that's kind of what we saw. We saw three different cells that had severe thunderstorm warnings with them. I've honestly been working in central Ohio now in the Ohio area for a long time. I mean, I've been doing weather here for 10 12, 13, 14 years, Dayton for a while, here for a while too. And I've seen days where when we have that slight risk where you literally have almost every single county dealing with some sort of a warning. That was not the case today. So we do have that low risk for some of those stronger storms. And kind of the reason for that is if you got to kind of think about the timing of the year. When you get to this time of year, it's not quite as active high in the atmosphere, so you don't quite get as much of that organization with the storms. And really, our severe weather season tends to peak in mid to late June into early July, and that's really early July. Now we're into mid-July, so things tend to start quieting down. That does not mean that you're out of the woods. You never are. You're going to have severe weather any time of the year, but things tend to start quieting down this time of year, and the storms we do see don't tend to be as long-lived. They don't tend to be as widespread. Again, there's always an exception to the rule. I'm just kind of playing the averages, but you can see, though, we're still looking at heavy rain. Washington Courthouse, moving on into Highland County, Hillsborough, very heavy rain out that way. North side of Columbus, moving into northern New Albany, even out towards southern Delaware County, out towards Johnstown now into Licking County, some very heavy rain. Utica, heavy rain. Buckeye Lake, heavy rain. Moving on into Logan, very heavy rain. We're looking at some heavy rain that just went through Athens. We also have a little bit, this little spot right there. If you look up, we've got a new sweep. See how we kind of have this weird white thing right here? That's a new product that we have with newish product, I should say, within like the last couple of months that our weather service provides, and it shows us where we've got the best chance for some hail. So could be a little bit of hail, Meigs County, Athens County line, also just east of Athens, rather, could see a little bit of that there, but definitely looking at some heavy rain out in spots across parts of the area. And while, again, we're going to have to watch out for some redevelopment possibly, I think that the longer these storms stay around, the longer this rain sticks around, the less of a chance we're going to have of getting another turn out of the atmosphere. Again, I'm never going to rule it out, but we still have some lightning with these too. And the one thing that's nice too is there's not really a whole lot of rotation in the atmosphere. I'm just looking right here at the winds. Not a whole lot of rotation in the atmosphere, but definitely we've been looking at the threat for a little bit of hail. I can show you right now. We've had some spots. Let's just kind of get you some ideas where we've seen some hail up near Cambridge, just north of it. We've had the threat for a little bit of hail. Also out really along what I was just talking about, the Meigs County, Athens County line. This is just small hail, maybe pea-sized hail out in spots out through parts of Pike County, Ross County as well, looking at a little bit of hail. Highland County, actually Highland County, not quite severe hail, but Highland County having the biggest hail signature showing up on our hail tracker, just under 3/4 of an inch. So that's roughly nickel size, if not a little bit smaller. So definitely could see a little bit of hail with this. And again, you can see any of these areas with purple. So heavy rain, some hail still possible, and even some gusty winds too. But right now there's nothing severe in the area. So good news on that front. We are going to be tracking this, so make sure you tune in at 5 o'clock, so in just about an hour, we're going to have a full update on this. Now, I may jump back on if anything crazy starts to break, but I did want to just kind of pop on, kind of let you know, show you what we've got, what's going on right now, where we are with our weather, and we actually have some flash flood warnings out to the west of us, too. Here, we're just dealing with flash flood watches, but with rain this heavy, definitely going to have to watch out for. How are you in Delaware? How about Delaware? Well, Delaware's getting some heavy rain right now, and there is some more rain, too, that's on the west, out to the west of you. So more is going to come through. You're not quite done. But I do want to point out, too, notice how we're looking at this dark red. And, you know, whenever you see these dark reds, these purples, obviously it's a worse reflectivity on the radar. Notice how things aren't quite as bad. It kind of softens a little bit as you move on to the west. And that's because we've had a chance. This is the new precip that's rolling in into a little bit more stable of an atmosphere. So I'm still going to be watching out, especially out in northeastern portions of the area, parts of Coshocton County, even though they did have a storm go through that kind of turned the atmosphere over a little bit that way. Same story in Muskingum. Still got to watch out there. Knox County hasn't had a whole lot just yet, so we'll be watching out there too. But we're still going to be watching out in these areas where we have this heavy rain. But if we keep this around, that'll really help as this rain starts to move in to keep it from getting quite as severe. But heavy rain will definitely be possible, and we could still see some gusty winds and maybe even some small hail as we head through the next few hours. So make sure you're staying weather aware. Keep it tuned to 10 TV. We're going to have any sort of updates that are going to be crawling on the bottom of your screen during Dr. Phil now. And then we're going to be on starting at 5 o'clock. So just about 57 minutes from now, we're going to be on with the latest on that front. We're also going to be getting a look at the weekend forecast because we've got more rain into the weekend, but we also have some dry time. So we're going to get a chance to dry out. So we're going to break it all down for you starting tonight at 5 o'clock. I'm Doppler 10 meteorologist Jeff Booth. Go to my Facebook page at Jeff10TV. Make sure you go give that a like. Go to my Twitter feed at JeffBooth10TV. Follow that. That always keeps my bosses happy. And when my boss is happy, I'm happy. And then my boss at home, my wife is always happy. So make sure you go follow all that. Keep in mind, too, we still have the chance for some stronger storms here or there. But generally, it's looking like we've had things kind of quiet down a little bit. We're going to keep our eye on all this. If we need to pop back on here, we will. Other than that, we will see you back here at 5 o'clock on 10 TV. Tune in there. We're going to have a look at the entire weekend forecast, and we're going to time out these showers, these storms for you, let you know when you can expect them in your neighborhood coming up. So make sure you tune in for that. So y'all have a good one. I'm Doppler 10 meteorologist Jeff Booth. We will see you in just a little bit on 10 TV News at 5 o'clock.